to order the school board meeting for November 13th, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. As a reminder, the flags are this way. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll start the meeting by reading our school board norms. Can I get a volunteer to read those? All right, Dr. Len.
He's got it. School board meeting norms. Number 1, be prepared. Number 2, be on time. Number 3, value and respect each other. Number 4, exercise thoughtful deliberation and conversation. Number 5, be professional at the board table and when visiting with the general public. Number 6, speak up when the norms are not being followed. Number 7, advocate on behalf of students and keep the community in mind.
Thank you. Our next item of the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Motion by Dr. Shab. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Bill. Assuming a roll call vote, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Jeff and Monty are gone today, just as a FYI, and they're not via phone. Our next item on the agenda is celebrating success, and we have a lovely array of individuals from Schrader.
All right, thank you, Madam President and school board members, for the opportunity to present tonight on some of the great things that are going on at Schrader Middle School. We have a team with us today that consists of principals, teachers, students, and a parent. And I'll let each of them introduce themselves as they come to the mic. After watching Red River High School's excellent Celebrating Success presentation last month, I had to reach out to Mr. Arison and thank him for setting such a high bar, incredibly high. Tonight, our team plans on talking about our mission, vision, and values, our recent work as a high reliability school, how we support our students through our focus on relationships, how this work comes through in our data, and just to share some perspectives and experiences from our parents and our student. As you notice, I'll be referring to my notes as I present because I'm a notorious rambler. And Dr. Brenner said we need to keep it to at least 45 minutes or less. So just be careful. All right. So just to start here today, I wanted to share a few quick stats on Schrader. Currently, we have 563 students. Believe it or not, in terms of student numbers, this actually makes us the largest middle school in Grand Forks. We have 49 certified staff, 36 classified staff, and you'd be hard-pressed to find a more dedicated group of professionals. I mean, just outstanding individuals who strive to do what is best for students each and every day. Each grade level is divided into 2 teams, and you can see them up there. We've got the Ravens and the Thunderbirds, the Eagles and the Hawks, the Blue Angels and the Phoenix. All teams are named after something that takes flight, which is certainly an appropriate analogy for the middle school experience. We serve 105 students in special education with programs that include emotionally disturbed, autism, medically fragile, and a very new alternative learning program. Also, Schrader's building, a few notes on that. It was originally built in 1961 with additions in 64 and in 76 and in 98. The age of Schrader's building brings challenges for our students and staff, including a lack of modern HVAC in a majority of our building. But it is a very well maintained by our custodians, and it is beloved by our community of learners. Moving on into our mission and vision and values. Over the course of 2 years, the staff and I worked to define what it is we aim to do at Schrader. And our goal was to align our aim with the district's strategic plan, including its mission and vision. So after a number of brainstorming and feedback sessions, our staff created the following mission and vision statements and identified these core values. Our mission is inspiring a community of learners to strive for excellence through meaningful experiences. Our vision, we build critical thinkers who embrace challenges to grow as individuals and as a community. And our values, which are our core values, are growth mindsets, high expectations, safe and supportive environments, collaborative relationships, respectful, problem-solving citizens. We also included our students in this process as well, and we asked our 7th graders to design a school motto for our upcoming school year. So here's just a couple of pictures of how we've incorporated our core values and our brand new Schrader Raider logo into some school branding. So those top pictures are ones from our commons area, and those are the doors on the south side of the building, our main doors, and the values listed there. As you can see, the students picked a good one. After a lot of awesome ideas, this one rose to the top. Our motto for the 23-24 school year was Think Greater, Think Schrader. And it's got a little bit of middle school spunk in there, so I really kind of like that, how that came out. The kids picked a good one. And next spring, our 7th graders will work on a new motto for their 8th grade year. Some of the significant work we have done under our mission and vision aligns with components of the high reliability schools. This past summer, Schrader Middle School was certified level 2 for our focus on effective teaching in every classroom. It was a great achievement for our staff. Congratulations to their work and for their work with our students to reach this level. At this time, I would like to pass the mic off to one of our teachers, Amy Sherrick, who will provide some details on the work that we did to reach this accomplishment. Yep.
Hi, so as Dave mentioned, my name is Amy Sherrick, and I'm going to share with you some of the lagging indicators that led to our certification for HRS Level 2. So all of these are indications of what we did through the application process. The first of those is our instructional model. This is something that we as a staff worked on starting in the 2019-2020 school year. It was a collaborative effort between our teaching and learning committee and all of the staff at the school. We had a chance to collaborate and contribute on all of the things that we expect to see and hear as teachers, what we are doing in the classroom. This is not what we expect students to be doing, but what the adults should be doing and providing as a staff. It is something we continue to review and revise to ensure that it still meets our vision for the school and what we expect in our classroom. So we did take a look at this at our last in-school PD day. Another element is our professional growth opportunities. Goal setting is obviously something that all teachers in the district do. I will say this year it was especially helpful to have our instructional coach, Jen Becker, working with us as teachers to help align our goals with the district, school, and our PLC group goals. And of course, as we are doing that, we are also looking at the NASOT, so New Art and Science of Teaching elements, which are included here. So that's something that we would all use as we're planning that. Wonderment Wednesday is another element that helped us with our certification. This is job-embedded professional development that we have every Wednesday except for early release days. You can see we have quite the schedule from last year here. A few of the ones that might stick out, maybe a 960 or mandatory reporting training, 504 information, digital citizenship, we have school safety, panorama planning and data review, all things that are built in to help us support our students and help us learn, what we need to do best to work as a school. And an essential part of that is our instructional rounds. These are a monthly activity for us as teachers to be doing, and what it means is that we get to go out and visit other classrooms during either our team time or our prep time and see how other teachers are teaching, the instructional strategies they are using, and what works best to support our students. We have a different focus each time we have an instructional round. It might be focusing on what instructional strategies are being used, how teachers are meeting their goals, and looking at different elements of the instructional model is also something that we would look at. They are non-evaluative and allow us to provide positive feedback for each other as teachers, and it's a great opportunity to get out of our own classroom and into the building and seeing what other people are doing. I was able to go into 2 other ELA teachers' classrooms this year so far and just see what they are doing. ELA is new to me, so that was very helpful, and I've had 4 other teachers in my classroom so far at this point in the year, so we can share what we're doing and figure out how we can best support our students. And finally, we have these elements that supported our certification this year. We have common grading practices. We obviously communicate this with students and parents, and it's used by all teachers in all content areas. We use a summative formative model for grading. We have a leadership team comprised of Dave and Judy, as well as a teacher leader from every team, as well as a special educator and a teacher leader from our allied arts team, and our instructional coach, and they meet every 2 weeks. And then we have ways of communicating with parents, families, and teachers. You can see pictures of the team websites along the bottom of the page there. Those are used for parent and student communication. And then we also have a bulletin that goes out, I want to say every week, where we send out the s'more, and that goes to parents, and teachers can contribute to it. Dave usually puts a message in there for things that parents need to look out for. And Dave also shares with teachers and staff a week ahead bulletin, which allows us to see, that we have 25 volleyball games coming up this week, or the orchestra concert. I think it's close to 15 this week, but it's still a lot. And everything else we need to know. Is there a drill coming up, or, what supervision is happening for different teachers? So that's very helpful for us to have as well. The last element is our content PLC meetings on early release days, which are, of course, a district element. But all of those things went forward to support our HRS Level 2 certification. And I get to pass it off to Brian Strom, who's going to talk about supporting our students.
Thank you. My name is Brian Strom. I've been at Schrader for, I think, around 20 years, give or take a year. I'm a special ed teacher there. I also have had my daughter's gone through Schrader, and my son is currently a 6th grader, so teacher and parent. I need the clicker. All right. So I'm going to talk about supporting students and building relationships. Building relationships with students is huge. Our goal is to have every student have at least one adult that they can trust and talk to. Many students have many more, and some students it takes a hard time, but we want every student to have one trusted adult in the building. Different ways that we do this is we have radar time. It's kind of like a home room. We start our days every morning, 25 minutes. We talk about grades, check power of school. These are smaller groups. We have a second step SEL lesson. We talk about setting goals, how to make good goals. Bowling, digital citizenship are some things we talk about that. Another thing too is the circle time. The picture of this is our radar time, just sitting in the circle and just having conversations with each other. Just how's the day going? Some different activities going on, and having students talk to each other, but also listen to each other is key. Teaching them that. We have celebrations. We have each team has different awards to celebrate student success. And of course, on Fridays and radar time, they can have fun. So we might go with another radar time, play different games. So just building those bonds in a smaller radar time setting. Here's some examples of celebrating success. Each team has different awards. Like I'm a part of the T-Bird team, so we have a U-Rock award. We'll do that monthly. I know every team has an award. We also have an ACE assembly that we do once a quarter, celebrating student success on school-wide and talking about different stuff for that. So we have a behavior matrix, these expectations that we want to teach students and reteach them. So, how's their behavior in the cafeteria or the hallway? What should that look like? And there again, once again, we're teaching them and reteaching and probably reteaching again and maybe reteaching again. So it's middle school. So just the expectations of how students should be for that. Building relationships through sports and clubs. It's not just the academics that we want. We also want students to be involved in many different things. For 7th and 8th grade, we have 4 blocks of sports. 6th grade has intramurals. We have robotics. And we have a lot of different clubs too. We tell students, if you're interested in something, let somebody know, because I guarantee you there's more students interested in that. So this year we have like a Japanese culture club. We have a knitting club. We have a card club. In the past we've had anime, art, a train club. So if students are interested in something, we want to get them involved and join different clubs. Big Red Day is a fun day that we get to do once a year. An exploratory day where students get to participate outside the school setting. We have some activities at school like tie-dye and shirts. We also do the curling club. We go bowling, choice. We've got trips down to Fargo. We've done Skate City. So different activity on skiing in the past. So it's just a day for students to build relationships with other students outside the school day setting. And then as far as many different activities, we have different schools have, or different teams have field trips. We have a musical. Last year, our choir was selected. They were one of 3 middle schools that were selected to sing out in Bismarck for the North Dakota American Choral Directors Association. So that was a good privilege for them. We take an optional trip to take trips to Washington, D.C. So each grade has a chance to do that. And then our last picture up there is with the pie in the face. This is I think it's our 11th year. It's called Fear the Beard. So for the month of November, a bunch of us guys don't get a shave for the whole month. So, and then we raise money. Students have a chance to bring money in. And then all that money goes back out to buy other students Christmas gifts. Because this holiday season can be tough for some families. So over the past 10 years, we've raised $30,000 doing this event. And that's all from students bringing money in, and then it goes back out. And we have a big assembly in December where students get a chance to pie teachers. So that's a fun event for that too. So just that, we want students to excel in just more than academics. So we want to see them succeed in other things too. And with that, I'll pass it on to Judy Anderson.
Good evening. My name is Judy Anderson. I'm the Associate Principal at Schrader Middle School for the past 13 years. I'm going to talk about some of the meat of the why we do things at Schrader Middle School for our students. We're going to look at NDSA scores and the student SEL surveys. In previous years, we've always wondered how we can make taking the NDSA assessment more fun event for students, maybe, have them take it more seriously. So last spring, before they sat down to take the assessments, we met with the teams, or met with the grade levels, 6, 7, 8, and shared with them how important this is and where you can find the scores and what do the scores mean, and also challenged them to do better than they've ever done before. And then we celebrated afterwards, because what you'll see here is how they grew immensely in some areas. So this 6th grade NDSA graph is, when we look at the data, we look at if they're above proficient, above that benchmark. So they're advanced proficient or just proficient. This is compared to their 5th grade scores. So they increased in ELA and the math section. Our 7th grade, the first set of information that you have here, is compared to the 7th grade previous, so a different cohort of students. We saw a great increase from 7th grade the previous year to the 7th grade presently, or the last year. This is their last year scores, so they're 8th graders now. This is comparing them as 6th graders to when they took it in 6th grade to 7th grade. So grew again a lot. The 8th grade, same thing. This is the data that shows the 8th grade group that left us 2 years ago compared to the 8th grade group that was with us last year. And lots of nice increases in those scores. And this is the 8th grade group last year compared to their 7th grade test, which we saw a huge increase in their scores also. So something little by challenging them. We know middle school students love a competition. It seemed to have worked, but sharing with them that it is important and what the reason behind that is, I think helped too. We also have students setting goals in their Rater time, what Mr. Strom talked about before, and they set their goals, an academic goal and a personal goal, but their academic goals are based on the STAR testing that directly correlates to their NDSA scores too. Looking at the fall SEL survey, we take this through the Panorama platform. We like to see the increases. We know that some of those areas are low and they're chronically low, maybe you want to say that. But we also like to see growth comparing to the spring assessment. So this is the student supports and environments. The second part of this survey is the student well-being measures. And actually, self-efficacy is always our low point, and so we've very much focused on that this year. Our 2 counselors set their counseling goal on working on self-efficacy for students and how they can help that through their lessons too. And it's part of our school goals also. If you look at this, our school goals are directly related to the district's goals for ELA and math. We want to increase our scores monitored by the STAR assessment, which our Schrader students take quarterly, and then we can see the results of that when we take the NDSA this spring. Also in math, and then we want students to increase their self-efficacy score by 5% on that same panorama survey that we'll be taking in the spring again. To help out this goals, but we have all of our teachers write goals and our students write goals, and our teachers do focus on how are they going to help the ELA scores increase or the math scores increase in their content area through their PLCs or their curriculum partners. So we very much focused on these goals for this year. So our success would not be possible without our parents, and we have been very lucky to have wonderful parents. And so I'm going to pass it off to Amy Engett, who is our co-PTO president.
Hi, I'm Amy. I have a 7th grader at Schrader. He's on the Eagle team. I never knew why they were named, that they all had something to do with flight, and that gave me chills, so cool. I am the PTO president this year. I co-president with 2 other women, and we have a lot of fun. I'm going to talk tonight about our 3 areas of focus that we work on for our PTO this year. The first is teacher appreciation, second is student engagement, and third is special projects and school needs. So we love to appreciate our awesome teachers, and how we have done that so far this year is feed them. So that's with teacher breakfasts, and then buying them dinner during conferences. We have a great relationship with teachers on PTO as well. So sometimes we have more teachers than parents at our PTO meetings, which is awesome because we're really able to find out the plans of how we can really work together and support each other. If we have an initiative, does it make sense? Is it causing more work for the parents or teachers? We just want to work together. Second, student engagement. The PTO likes to be really involved in the school, and we like to be in the school a lot. And one way we did that this year was when the 6th graders came to registration, we had a table with candy. So they were able to come say hi. We were able to introduce ourselves. And then we, since we're in charge of the concession stand and we want to sell things that they want to buy, we quiz them about what candy they would like to have us sell. And they're our top sellers, so that was awesome. We also, for open house, hand out cookies, just to engage with parents and students. And then the slide up here you'll see is we host an annual Fall Family Fun Night at Valley Corn Maze in October. Normally they're closed on a Monday night, but they open especially for us so that we can invite Schrader families to come out and interact with each other, just have a good old-fashioned time playing with each other with no technology at all, and it's a lot of fun. The other way we engage our students is, like I said, we sell concessions as often as we can, right after school, and then during athletic events. The students are super happy when we open concession sales. We have regulars. We know what they want when they come up. It's like, you want the Coke and the Twix, Joel. So, and then parents are really appreciative too on the nights when there's 15 volleyball games a week because it's during supper time. So if we serve them popcorn, they get something to eat. Lastly, we use our money to buy or take care of special projects and school needs. So a few things that we've purchased this year is a projector for our gym. We also purchased whiteboards for English language arts rooms this year, and then we purchased prizes for an ED classroom's new curriculum. The other thing that we like to work on is our merchandise. So we partnered with a teacher who designs really awesome spirit wear. So we sell that at concessions and during other events so that we can get parents and teachers and students to share the love about Schrader.
Okay, so I'm going to invite our students up to the mic to say a couple words. We have Hudson, Maya, and Lily.
Hi, my name is Hudson Sabula. I'm on the Phoenix team. I'm an 8th grader, and I was asked to speak about Schrader Middle School by our principal, Mr. Nowatzki. First, I would like to tell you about all the activities I do at Schrader. I do track, basketball, strength and conditioning, and I also do student council. As well as that, I also do scoreboard at Schrader, things that I don't do. Now, I will tell you about my favorite things at Schrader. I'll start by talking about the most important things for most schools, your classes and teachers. My favorite class was last year's math class, Mr. Olson. I liked his class because he added fun games to all hard things, and if you were failing, he'd help you bring you back up. Another thing I like about Schrader are the competitions we do. Like the 2-sentence horror story thing we had just a month ago, I think. And the assemblies. We do a lot of competitions. Like last year, we did a who could eat the most donuts off a string in like a time limit. And even if you aren't picked, you still feel included, and they always make you laugh. And with those things, that's why I think Schrader is one of the best middle schools in the Grand Forks area. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Lily Green, and I'm an 8th grader at Schrader. I'm on the Blue Angels team, and Mr. Nowatzki, my principal, asked me to speak today. At Schrader, I'm involved in volleyball, choir, band, orchestra, and student council. English is my favorite class because I really enjoy reading and writing. We also do discussions once a week about the class novel that we're reading and talk about our theories with the novel and like what we liked about that chapter that week. My favorite part of Schrader is definitely the teachers and all my friends. The teachers at Schrader are amazing and care so much about the students. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Maya Eckert, and I'm an 8th grader at Schrader, and I'm on the Phoenix team. And today I was also asked to present with Mr. Nowatzki. I would like to talk about what I was involved in at Schrader. So I'm involved with performing arts, sources of strength, student council, soccer, and volleyball, which is exactly where I'm heading after this. Another thing I'd like to talk about is what my favorite class is. It's hard to pick one, but if I had to choose one, it'd either be gym, because we get to go and move around and it's very fun to hang out with your friends during gym, or choir, because my choir class is very fun and I love to sing. My favorite thing about Schrader is probably student council, because I've done all 3 years of middle school and I've had such a great time, and I love all the things that we've done, like bell ringing, planning spirit weeks, and my favorite thing of all time that we do is go to State Student Council, which is in Bismarck, and it is always super fun. And this year I'm planning on running for state president, and it's an amazing way to meet other middle school kids that have the same interests from North Dakota. Thank you.
All right, I just want to take a moment to thank this team for the wonderful job you guys did. One more round of applause for our kiddos too, guys. And that is the end of our presentation. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, you stayed under 45 minutes. Does anyone have any question for our Schrader Raider team? Go ahead, Cynthia.
I don't want to put you on the spot. I was actually going to ask, well, the students, because according to the survey, it's got lower engagement, but that's what I'm hearing that the students are talking about, being very engaged. So I don't know what the questions are in terms of, I think, school climate, sense of belonging, and engagement based on the survey results. But I hear such positivity amongst your students, and I know you've handpicked the students, and they sound like they are the best students ever. But maybe it's the questions, maybe, you know what I mean? What's the discrepancy, do you think?
That's a great question, Cynthia. I mean, we measure engagement in a couple of different surveys. This is one of them. Another one is through the Cognia Student Engagement Survey, which is done through the state as well. So, the different items, sometimes it's a snapshot survey. I think at times it depends on how the kids are reading the questions as well too. But I think, within a school, you've got a wide spectrum of learners and how kids feel about school. And sometimes I think that it gives us areas to work on. I mean, for me, those areas, that's pretty low to see that as well too. And just like self-efficacy, which is basically, do students believe that they can be successful? Some of that is middle school, and yet we feel like we can still have an impact on that. So I know that middle school sometimes is viewed as getting them ready for high school, but we believe it's an entity unto itself, where it's a culture that is pretty unique in terms of student growth, and so. Yeah, it's definitely an area for us to push into.
Thank you, but I definitely heard the enthusiasm by everybody.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Just want to thank all of you for sharing. As a former Schrader Raider, I'm tremendously proud of all of you. If you need one additional volunteer for that pie thing, I would volunteer Joel.
Other questions or comments? Yeah. Well, thank you. As a parent of a future Schrader Raider next year, she's very excited, and it was a great perspective to get insight from all of you. So thank you for your time. And you don't have to stay. We'd welcome you to stay if you want to listen to the rest of our meeting, but we'll give you a minute or so to shuffle out if you have other things to do.
Amber, while they're shuffling out, can I ask Catherine a question?
Sure.
I noticed that it looked like it was 18.7% of the students at Schrader are getting special education services. Is that similar to our other middle schools in town?
Great question, Dr. Lund. That percentage is actually, I think, close to the average across all campuses. We actually have a higher special education population served at Valley Middle School than at Schrader currently.
Okay, we will now move on to the approval of minutes from October 23rd, 2023. Does anyone have any changes or additions? Okay, I'll seek a motion. Motion for approval. Dr. Lund, is there a second? Second by Joel. Assuming a roll call vote, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carries. We now are at the public comments portion. I don't have any blue cards. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to provide public comments? Okay. Superintendent's recommendations for discussions, Valley Middle School update. Dr. Brenner?
Thank you, Madam President. We have with us tonight Allie Stevens and Kyle Kwame from Icon Architects, and they're going to provide an update. And as they're making their way to the microphone to give us an update on the new Valley Middle School build, I just want to remind everybody that Kyle was the project lead getting us across the finish line on May 16th, getting that referendum for all the people who went to the polls. We got just about 65%, and I will give Kyle just tons of credit for helping us get to that point. Allie Stevens has been the project manager on the new build, and she's been really engaged with with our district leadership team, with Valley Middle School leadership, with teachers, and has really kept this ball rolling in the right direction, from weekly meetings to bi-weekly meetings. Sometimes we have to touch base 3 times in a week. Sometimes even on Veterans Day we have conversations. So I just want to thank both Kyle and Allie for all of their work and for being here tonight, and I will turn the microphone over to them. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Brenner. Yeah, as he noted, I'm Allie Stevens. I'm the project manager on this project. Do you want to? Okay. I'll talk tonight. He normally talks, so we'll keep the mic away from him. Is this on? Oh, no, they turned it off. There we go. Okay. Sorry. So yeah, I just want to give a quick update to everyone about where we're at in the Valley Middle School project. This is the vision statement that the group has come up with pre-referendum that we've been kind of keeping throughout the process, just to maintain kind of that vision as we move through the project. What is our ultimate goal? What's our priority? I won't read it out loud, but it's here for you guys. A quick update on where we're at in the project. We're currently in the construction document phase. We've gone through design development and schematic design previously, and we're currently in construction documents looking at about a 50% set due next week. So what timeline this puts us at is issuing the project out in January with a bid day in February, starting construction in the spring, and then we'll have approximately 19 months of construction ending in the winter of 2025. We've been working kind of hand in hand with Cunningham Architects, who are our partner architect on the project, as well as Construction Engineers, who is the construction manager on the project, to kind of create this schedule and make sure we're being diligent about what our timeline is and how we're phasing moving out of the existing building and into the new. Alongside the project schedule and with Construction Engineers in Cunningham, we've been working on the budget of the project a little bit as well. We've been kind of working over the last 6 months now since the referendum passed in May to make sure we're aligning the scope of the project as well as the budget that we have set aside, making sure those align and kind of making sure that our priority remains the students and the learning spaces in the building. So we've been working through that through this project phase as well. Just some site and landscape design and some photos for you guys. This is the design concept that we've created throughout the project, really looking into the community and the neighborhood and what do we have here. The Red River Valley is obviously important in this community, and how do we unite that with Royal Pride? That is the Valley Middle School's slogan, or saying, I don't know, however you guys call it. This is our site plan. So the current middle school is currently on the east side of this site, and we're proposing it being located on the west side, and offsetting or flipping kind of where the public fields are. So we have the new building kind of parking on the east and the south with a little parking and service area on the north. On the west side, we're maintaining that landscape space, park space, maintaining all those trees that are on the west side as well. And then you can see kind of in green where we're proposing adding trees and landscaping kind of around the new building as well. And then on the east side, like I mentioned, that would be replacing the fields. Once we take down the existing Valley Middle School, we'll be putting fields in that place to kind of replace where they currently are now. Some floor plans to give you an update on what the building looks like today. This hasn't changed it too much probably since the last time Kyle presented it to you guys a couple months back, but just a refresher, the main entrance is on the south side of the building. To the left of that would be the administration suite and a secure entry to get in through there. We have 3 learning wings, learning neighborhoods we've been calling them, on the southeast, southwest, and northwest corners of the building. Those each stack on top of each other. So currently we've been labeling those 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. So 6th grade will be stacked on top of each other, 7th grade will be stacked, and 8th grade will be stacked. In the center of the building, we have a commons and cafeteria space. And then on the northeast side of the building, that's our gymnasium and our music spaces. And then the rest of the athletic spaces as well. On the north side, we have receiving and mechanical kind of in the center there, near the kitchen, and then we have some tech engineering and industrial tech spaces as well. One more, I guess I'll note, the performance platform we do have in the commons space. That will be our performance space for Valley Middle School, kind of right off the commons cafeteria. Upstairs, we have the same 3 learning wings stacked on top of each other. And then we have kind of sprinkled throughout our specialty spaces, our art classes, FACS, world language, day treatment, computer applications. Those types of classes are AVID and PLTW classrooms as well. And then in the center, on the south side, we have the media center, kind of overlooking that front side of the building. Yeah, I think that's the kind of the whole floor plan there. We wanted to share some updated renderings with you as well. We've been working with the City of Grand Forks, our landscape architect team, our civil team, and our architectural partners, Cunningham and ourselves here at Icon, to kind of create exterior design and, a building design that meets the neighborhood's needs and feels comfortable in a neighborhood environment. This is the front entry of the building, kind of looking at that main entry kind of just underneath to the right of the flags, and then you can see a learning wing on each side. Here is the courtyard. I guess I didn't point that one out on the floor plan. In between the 2 learning wings on the west side of the building, we have a large courtyard that we are hoping to use for student space. We have windows and doors from windows from all the classrooms, and then doors coming from the commons cafeteria space. So hopefully students can eat out there when it's nice out. Figuring out, how that works logistically with staff will be one thing. But obviously just creating space for students to break out. I know the science teachers have also expressed interest in the ability to take students outside for experiments, and that provides proximity to it, as well as a lot of visual passive supervision from other staff in other classrooms. Here's just a quick snapshot of the materials we're using. We have some brick on the building. We also have some metal panel, and then on the athletic side of the building, we are using some precast material as well. Inside the building, this is an image of the commons cafeteria space. To the right, you can kind of see the edge of that performance platform that we have started there. And then on the left, above, on the second floor, you can see a walkway that leads from one learning wing to the next. And then the cafeteria is obviously straight ahead, and then the kitchen servery space is straight ahead of you as well. This perspective is looking kind of from the front door, looking north. And this is a classroom wing. We're calling it an informal learning space to allow for some breakouts for students in addition to hallway space. So we have the typical lockers in the hallway. After lots of discussions with staff, it's imperative to have that locker space for students to give them a place to land and to allow locations for their things during the school day. So this is just one of the learning wing towers in one grade level. We have some breakout spaces in the small group room that's on the right there, as well as some, just breakout spaces out in that corridor, and then lockers for students. And then you can see kind of into a few classrooms there as well. And that's all I have for you guys. Just to note what we've been doing, to Dr. Brenner's point, we do have biweekly meetings right now that we've been kind of working through with some district leadership to kind of make sure we're all on the same page and kind of just answer lots of little tiny random questions that come up as we go to make sure we're all on the same page as we move into the bidding phase. Any questions?
Any questions? Go ahead, Dr. Lund.
I just have a few simple ones. You talked about completing construction in the winter of 2025.
Yeah.
So does that mean the building wouldn't be open for students till that fall of 26? And then would the summer be the flip over stage if you're taking some equipment from the old to the new, or how would that work? I can't imagine opening in the middle of the second semester or something.
Right. So I would defer a little bit of that to construction engineers, who is our construction manager, and they have been helping with that. Lance was going to be here tonight, but unfortunately had a family emergency, so he was unable to attend. So I defer a little bit to him, but the last I've heard from them is actually we're hoping for a construction finish around that November, December time of winter 2025. And we have been in talks already with the district of trying to transition over to the new building over winter break, talking about could we look at an extended winter break or something to that effect, add a couple more days if we need to switch some days around or figure something out that we could potentially transition over winter break. Otherwise, yes, I think if we're unable to do that, I think we'd probably look towards a spring or summer to avoid that middle of the year transition.
Yeah, my problem would be is it's like buying a kid a shiny new toy and then saying, well, you can use it in 6 months. It might be a little difficult. The other question I had was how are you all working with our other partners on safety and security and making this cohesive? Because we got one building with you guys, we've got other design groups that are looking at safety and security through the district. How are we making sure you don't have one system in one building and a different system in 16 other buildings?
Exactly. Yeah, thank you. So we've already had 2 meetings, and we have a third one this week actually with your district safety and security team. So that includes safety and security officer. Brandon was a part of that meeting, buildings and grounds, district staff to I think there's about 10 people in the last meeting. To really coordinate what does security look like in this building and how does that correspond with the other buildings, because I think that would be a priority. We don't want to put a system into this building that's completely different from other buildings. We've been working with your IT department as well to get the specific cameras you guys use in all the rest of your buildings to make sure that those specific models are the same ones we use here so that there's consistency when you're looking at replacing in the future or changing things out in the, moving forward.
Other questions? Go ahead, Dr. Shep.
Dr. Lund's questions I thought were very deep questions. I think mine are really kind of trivial, but I'm going to go ahead with it. So I have been asked, not for this building, but some of the buildings around, why so many metal panels? So of these 3, brick, metal panel, and precast, which is the least expensive?
So metal panel is probably the least expensive. So that is definitely a factor in that, we're trying to make sure we're cost effective with our material choices and with our, with the building we're designing. And as I noted earlier, our priority has been throughout this process, prioritizing the learning spaces and the educational functions versus some of the finishes to make sure that we're getting the students the spaces they need. We also are highlighting metal panel, I would say, in really high, very important spaces, or we're trying to highlight spaces. Is the middle of the... So in this plan, we have metal panel just at the front entrance here. Our initial concept, actually, I'll go back to this, was looking at that Red River Valley. I noted their design intent was creating, kind of showing the Red River flowing through our building. So how do we create that intent? How do we have the Red River flow through the building in a way that's a little more meaningful? So we're actually looking at metal panel in locations where that is as well. So that is really pinpointed at the front of the building. We have some in this courtyard space and then kind of coming out on the north side. So we've kind of tried to really make it intentional where we're putting those materials. But yes, to your point, metal panel is also the most cost-effective material out of those 3 that you noted.
Other questions? Go ahead.
Sorry, I must not have taken the right medicine today. Just one quick one. There's been concern in the past about trees, with the park being there. Do you have any idea, and you probably don't know at this stage, but do you have any idea how many new trees will be planted around the school? I mean, not over in the park, but around the school.
Yeah, so everything highlighted in green here is what we're proposing as a new tree on the site. So those are the new trees, and then it's a little tricky to see, but you can see existing trees as well. So on the north side, you can see these are all existing trees up here, existing trees down on the south side as well, and then kind of sprinkled throughout. But yeah, we're planning on adding additional trees, and then I know trees have been a sticking point, or at least a topic on the west side as well, and our intention is to maintain all of those trees. We've been working closely with the city of Grand Forks. We had a what is he called? The forester out there. Arborist. What? Arborist? I don't. I don't know if that was who he was saying. Our civil team had someone out there to inspect all the trees individually, so, yeah, we've been trying to really pay attention to that because I know it's an important park for the community and it's important to maintain that.
Add one thing, if you wanted to go to the metal panel. Just to add one thing, so the metal panel, if you went to the material one maybe. Yeah, so it's not going to, there's a very beautiful storage unit next door that's got metal panel, and this is architecturally very detailed, so it's going to look different, and it's also really resilient. So it's a balance. It's not the same metal panel even architecturally used 10 years ago. It looks really neat. The color is manufactured in a way that it resists fade a lot better as well. So it will, while we do have to use it to manage costs, I think it will look really nice when you see the finished product.
Is the plan for the, my thought just left my head. Is the plan for the building to be enclosed in the winter of 2024, and then the work during winter is all the inside work? Is that?
I don't think I can
May
say that, I guess, just yet. I would probably defer to construction engineers on that point. I'm not sure if they've worked through all the specifics of that, because if we're starting in the spring, that would give them about 6 months to enclose the building, which I think could be feasible, but I'm not sure exactly what they have planned and scheduled. The construction schedule is really more their wheelhouse. I don't think we have that detail figured out just yet.
And it all depends too, like the precast could be done because it comes on site and they just kind of tilt it up, and it really depends. That's a great question that I think we can get Lance to answer.
Yeah, mostly just going off of Dr. Zlon question, like, are we operating off a contingency like winter last year, or, you know, because if we can't enclose the building and do interior work over the winter, then you're essentially not enclosing the building till that next spring or snow.
I think that would be, I think that would be our intention, but yeah, I think they're kind of working through the details of what that schedule would look like still.
Okay.
I would say we want that.
Yeah.
If that doesn't happen, it's not because we don't want it.
Yeah, okay. Any other questions? Okay, thank you so much for the update. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Our next item on the agenda is the Facilities Committee of the Whole report. Brandon?
President Flynn, members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to present here. On October 23rd, Facilities Committee of the Whole met just after the board meeting as scheduled and discussed just a few items. Primarily, the meeting served as an update from our Buildings and Grounds Director, Jonathan Elwine, and covered a few different subject areas, including the Grand Forks Central Pool, safety and security update, Career Impact Academy, as well as the public school and military installations, or the new concept at Twining. And so just the last three that I had mentioned were quick updates in nature. Safety and security was really just getting underway with some initial assessments, and those commence. Career Impact Academy has been underway, so we're at that point where the work is being done, foundations are in the ground, and there hasn't been a notable update just yet. And then with the school concept on Twining, is the application submitted, and we're waiting for that feedback from the federal government and its program. More conversation would be had around the Grand Forks Central Pool. We had, as a part of the presentation from Jonathan, was a concept provided to us by some initial design from JLJ Architects, kind of outlining at least two different paths that could be traveled. One would be a short-term 3-year solution, which would expect a budget somewhere between $500,000 to $1 million, but they could see a path forward of really getting the pool filled back up with water and in use, but in a very short-term manner. And then outlaid a second concept of a longer-term solution, a 30-year plus, more of what you'd consider permanent, and that could range really with anywhere from $8.5 to $9 million, with components of that of getting the pool filled back up again, but enhancing some of the equipment that's used for that, as well as fully repairing that physical envelope or surround of the building. With that being said, I think much of the conversation at the committee level was good, but it was kind of hinged on what may take place tomorrow with the November 14th city referendum around the aquatic center and the turf facility. So I think there was some initial direction provided around that concept, that if that referendum were to be successful tomorrow, then the school would really want to engage in conversation around that facility and what that longer-term plan would be for Grand Forks Central Pool. And then, of course, if the referendum was not successful tomorrow, that would also have its implications. So there was no action taken at the committee, no specific recommendation, a lot of good conversation with eyes towards November 14th. Of course, you were all there, so I welcome any comments you have to correct me if I was wrong in that report.
Any comments or questions? Okay. We'll move on to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Motion by Dr. Shab.
Second.
Second by Dave. All those, assuming a roll call vote, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Now move on to the Superintendent Evaluation Committee report. Who's taking that one?
I can take it, Josh.
Okay.
Kick it off.
So I would report out from the Superintendent's Evaluation Committee. As the minutes show, the committee met on Tuesday, November 7th to review the Superintendent Evaluation Board Member Input Survey. Overall comments regarding the tool and the content of the survey were positive from all committee members. It was felt that content was relevant and that Dr. Brenner's extensive narrative provided the necessary details to complete the survey. Beyond this, we heard commentary from Dr. Brenner regarding feedback received in the survey, along with items in motion already related to this, to the various survey topics. The committee walked through each section and reviewed content and comments, and following that, it was Dr. Brenner provided commentary, and then it was moved and seconded that we forward the draft evaluation that finds the superintendent's performance satisfactory in all areas with a unanimous recommendation for approval. I guess with that, I would ask that we open the floor for Dr. Brenner to share some of that commentary he shared with the committee as a whole.
Thank you, Josh. Appreciate that recap. First of all, I just want to thank all of you. 12 of the 14 board members between City and Bay School Board completed the evaluation tool, and I'm grateful for that. And as always, I think I echo the comments at each one of these meetings that I'm really grateful for the narrative pieces that all of you provide. It's one thing to check an area, but to really provide some specific feedback is really helpful. And something that I said at our State of the District breakfast is everybody, all staff members, whether we're teachers or coaches or paraprofessionals, custodians, doesn't matter what role we have in the district, we all need coaches and we all need feedback. So I certainly appreciate the feedback that all of you provided. And I'm grateful that that you recognized on the heels of a pretty busy last year leading up to the referendum that the work, the forums that we had, the public forums that we had, the opportunities for community engagement were there. Even though we didn't have large attendance at many of those events, nonetheless, our team was there and willing to engage with our community. And I do also thank you for recognizing the entire leadership team, executive cabinet, Catherine, Matt, Brandon, Griffin, as our executive cabinet level team, along with our administrative cabinet level team that includes Amy Barch, Chief Academic Officer, Eric Ripley, Alyssa, Dietrich, et cetera. Certainly appreciate the recognition for their work, because at the end of the day, we all do this. I either get the credit or the blame, but in this evaluation, certainly there was a lot of credit that's shared with all of my colleagues. Some of the, excuse me, I'm almost over this. We're almost at 9 weeks. Some of the look-fors that I found in terms of the themes, there was some comments about the technology department, and are we going to reinstate that director position that we let sunset here about 4 years ago. And so that'll be a topic that I'll want to visit with the Finance Committee that meets at the end of this month. Again, we're not looking to add expenditures, we're not looking at adding positions, but I think there's a recognition by this board that there could be some risk if we don't have IT managed in a real detailed way as far as oversight on a day-to-day basis. Eric Ripley's done a terrific job wearing two hats with his CTE position and also technology, so I don't want to take anything away from Eric, but we're probably at a point where we do need to look at that. As far as long-range planning for devices and artificial intelligence and chat, let's just call it chat, that influence on the classroom, how students might be using that, how teachers are using it. We certainly want to recognize and appreciate the value that AI is going to bring to the workplace and to learning environments, but we also want to recognize that some of the challenges it's going to bring, and we're starting to see some of that on the national level as well. So, excuse me, we'll have an update for you at a future board meeting regarding artificial intelligence and the device replacement cycle in terms of all of our one-to-ones across the district. Sustaining the staff that we have, I'm grateful that the board did lots and lots and lots of work and reached deep into our budget to provide compensation packages for all 4 of our groups. And I believe that we kept a lot of people in place as a result of the work of the board. And now the continued opportunity in front of us will be to find people and want them to stay here. So, but excuse me, but I think there's some features that ended up in the negotiated agreement, like 6 weeks of paid parental leave. That word has gotten back to me already from some of our staff who are on maternity leave, and how beneficial that was for them in their planning. So I congratulate and thank the board for that. And finally, the last look for is we have lots of conversations about our facilities, our short and long range plan, maintenance plan, et cetera. And Jonathan Elwine will be prepared to have a report in front of you as early as the second meeting in January, and actually a document that you'll be able to see, probably put things in buckets of, here's the facility, here's the maintenance plan, here's the date due, and here's the budget allocated to and for that. So I think that will be helpful to have it in front of everybody's eyes, and will be something that we can front face on our website. So aside from that, that might be all the language I have for the rest of the meeting for tonight. But
Additional questions or comments for Dr. Brenner?
But again, I just want to thank all of you for your feedback.
Go ahead.
Well, I just want to apologize to all of you. I was the one that didn't fill out. I totally spaced out the evaluation, so I didn't fill it out. So because of that, I spent an inordinate amount of time looking through the evaluation document this weekend, and I am in complete agreement with the recommendations from the committee. I thought I liked the new tool, and I thought it provided some excellent information. So thank you all for the hard work that you guys did that I didn't do.
Go ahead, Dr. Schramm.
I did think about the tool a little bit further after the meeting, because I couldn't quite pinpoint what it was when we had the meeting, but I think and I know that the board will use this tool again, so I'm not looking for change at this point, but I think what it's missing is a rubric. So what does highly effective mean? Effective and partially effective and ineffective, because otherwise, I use the example of something that happened to me early into my career when I received I can't remember, a 3 for dress, I'll just say. And I said, well, tell me what it takes to get to a 5 for dress, because I want to know what it takes, because that's the kind of person I am, right? Well, in this tool, you don't have same thing. You don't really have anything to put your teeth into in terms of what that means. And so it's something that I would hope that maybe future boards maybe think about or look at. I personally thought the tool was a little bit long, and I got a little bit fatigued, and I was also kind of at crunch time. So I think towards the end, because of the length of the tool, I've got a little bit lazy. I'll admit that. I'm not saying I didn't thoroughly read all the questions, but because of the length, I think you get a little bit just let's get it done kind of feeling. So those are my 2 cents, which I did share with the committee, except that I didn't have the rubric in my head.
Other comments? I also liked the new rubric. Like Cynthia, it does get long, and I think I just got concerned, like, could I save this and come back to it? But I just get so nervous of, like, my progress is going to be lost. And then, so it really is, like, you kind of have to, I think if I could have broken it down, like, let me do 20 minutes and then come back to it. But I just get so nervous that everything's going to get lost. So, but what I really appreciated is, Dr. Brenner, your comments about each of the areas. I think it provided a more in-depth understanding of what you do, how you lead, who you lead with, and it was really helpful to understand kind of the day-to-day operational side. So I really, really appreciate that. I think there were some questions or some comments in there that were sprinkled that maybe had to deal more with policy stuff, which is really more of a board type directive. And so I would just say that, I think just having a general understanding that this board is really more responsible for policy type initiatives. And so maybe those weren't really, appropriate for the superintendent evaluation, but more of a board evaluation directive. So that was one of my takeaways. Additional comments or questions? Okay. I'll seek a motion for approval of the superintendent's evaluation. Okay, motion by Dr. Lund. Is there a second? Second by Dr. Schab. Assuming a roll call vote, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carries. We are now to the section of announcements, and we are right on time. Oh, wait. Darn. Consideration of certificate regarding negotiations of community-based use agreement.
My apologies, Madam President. I appreciate the opportunity to talk about the Memorial Village project development that's just down the road on Columbia University. There's a lot of activity over there, and it's an exciting one for the school district, given that it'll be a new softball complex. District administration's been in conversation with UND, the city, and all involved about what that could mean for our students. And without any specific agreement by this point at all, it's very exciting to at least think about the concept of getting our athletes outdoors, practicing and playing that much sooner in the spring weather, which is normally awfully wet. There is a development agreement between the city and the UND Alumni Association that is really in charge of the framework for this development. And in part, there is a requirement within there that those parties continue to work with Grand Forks Park Board as well as the Grand Forks School District about the community use or the community partnership of that facility. And so this document in front of you today is a certification regarding those conversations, and it basically reads or it reads to indicate that the negotiations or conversations about use from the school district's perspective of that facility have begun and will in earnest continue. Our legal team has reviewed it, and there's nothing in it that binds us to reach any particular agreement at all, just that the conversations have begun and will continue in earnest. And so with that, administrative recommendation is to approve the certificate regarding negotiations for the community-based use agreement of that facility. Happy to answer any questions regarding that.
Go ahead.
Just to kind of bring up the referendum tomorrow again, there's no softball complex involved with the indoor turf pool planning that could potentially happen if the referendum passed, correct?
Correct, no softball complex.
Right. It's turf, but it's pickleball, right?
Yeah.
I think there could be an opportunity like for batting cages and indoor. So there's not like a complex per se, but there's indoor space for practice. It would be high enough of a ceiling.
Mm-hmm. But it's interesting to me because just this past weekend, people were asking me about this Memorial Village project and what the school was involved in. So it's slowly getting out there. Even university people, I think it just kind of happened. I don't know how much communication really has gone on about that project. Just based on, I know it's a handful of people, but it was like 8 people who had never really, now that the road has been blocked, they're aware of it, right?
Right. Yeah, and just to comment on the school district's involvement, we haven't had any participation in the development of it or where it's headed. We're just starting the conversations about a possible use, just like we have a shared use facility agreement with Parks District related to ice time at the Icon Hockey Arena. So we're excited about its presence, and hopefully that could really be impactful for our students.
If I could just add to Dr. Schaub's question, when the board approved the TIF for Memorial Village, part of that agreement, at least my conversation with Mike Pieper, who is a VP of facilities on campus, was we would have lots of access to this new softball field because typically the UND women's team wraps up the first week of May, and we're just starting to get outside the first week of May, so we're going to have lots of access to that. As a matter of fact, UND made a special invitation to our both softball girls teams from Central and Red River High School to be at the dedication, the groundbreaking ceremony. So there's a true recognition that this is not only to help the university, but it's really to help develop fast pitch softball in Grand Forks. And really grateful for Bill Chaves and Eric Martinson from the AD department, and certainly President Armacost for their outreach.
I'd make a motion to approve the certificate regarding negotiations for community-based use agreement.
Okay, motion by Dr. Schaub. Is there a second? Second by Bill. Assuming a roll call vote, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carries. We are now to announcements. Okay, go ahead.
Student Board Member Ryan El-Shami is not here this evening, but in case you missed it in the news, Representative Kelly Armstrong has nominated Ryan to go to the U.S. Naval Academy. So again, Grand Forks is well represented, and so we're grateful for Ryan and all of his talents, and this isn't going to be the last you hear of Ryan as he's sitting at our board table here. And just the other that's been mentioned 3 times already, tomorrow is the November 14th referenda vote, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. at the Alara Center tomorrow for the aquatics and turf facility.
I also have to recognize my alma mater for their second place finish at state football. So it was great to watch and fun to see their streak. Sad it didn't end in a win, and then we had swimming and diving, I think, have their season. We had some good outcomes from there as well. Yep. So, okay. Any other announcements? Okay. Any board requests for future considerations? Okay. School board meeting norms. Dr. Lund, do you need to put your glasses back on? Good. Okay. We are adjourned. Thank you.